All right, you guys. Welcome back to the Chill with Bill show. Back again with the ill behavior. This is the ill Bill. Toxic masculinity. Is it a thing? Is it not? I feel like it's a buzzword, but I don't know. Just pearly things. The pregame. The pregame. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what these ladies have to say about this.
What is toxic masculinity?
So I feel like it stems from a man who does not know himself and he does not know how to regulate his emotions, because men are very logical. By the end of the day, they still have emotions and they do not know how to regulate that, but they know.
What do you mean
that
they don't know how to regulate it?
Okay, so a man knows innately, in my opinion, that he is meant to protect and provide and that he is meant to be the head in some kind of way. I feel like that's an innate thing that a man knows. However, when you are told that that is the only thing that you must be, and then your kind of other emotions, the emotions that make you human, are kind of shunned. You do not
What do
know
you
how,
mean by emotions that make you human?
because
And before she even gets into that, you just said every man knows innately that they're supposed to be the provider and the protector. But does every woman know that? Because if the women ain't letting the man lead, provide, protect the way that he can, then this all is a moot point. But let's continue.
because anything
Like what emotion?
to be overtly happy, or when you said the word simp, like to feel like an emotion that is like, oh, I want to feel soft for this person and all these kind of things. Being soft, like everything is yin and yang, and men and women, they both have masculine and feminine energy, and you need to embrace both of those, but not obviously too much masculinity in a female and too much femininity in a
Don't
man.
you think you're asking men to emote like women?
No.
Yeah. Why all this changing? Men just want women to be women. Women should just want men to be men. Why would you want men to be women? We don't want you to be men. I don't understand. It's all about this change to fit whatever you think the narrative of a man is. You aren't qualified.
Oh no, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that you have to understand that as a man, you're going to have a little bit of feminine energy, even if it's 1%, 20%, 30%. I don't know.
Do you want men with a lot of feminine energy?
And I said 1%, 20%. I'm giving variables.
Right.
And to be honest, I don't mind. As long as you are able to fulfill your role as a man, which is to provide and protect and to lead. If you have feminine energy, if you're going to sit there and I want to do some dumb feminine shit with you, and you're going to sit there and allow me to do it, we can do that behind closed doors. If I want to do your nails and do your hair and do your makeup, we can do that behind closed doors. And that is
Makeup?
Yes. I'm sorry. We can do that behind closed. Some men will not allow that.
No, mine wouldn't. No.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
I think this woman's bugging right here. I'm not. Her arguments are just kind of going all over the dang place, and now she's got herself into this weird corner. Men. I hope you ain't wearing makeup. I hope not. I could see if my daughter wants me to sit down and play tea party with her, and she puts something on me, I'm gonna let her do it. But you know that shit's coming off right away.
And I feel like that shows how set in your masculinity.
What is toxic masculinity?
Okay, yeah,
let's not get in. Can I have a specific example?
Okay, so for example, a man.
Yeah, and before she even gets into the example, she said that she said before that a man who can't control his emotions, that's considered toxic masculinity. How a man who can't control. So if he gets upset and starts hopping, and storms out, slams the door, that's toxic masculinity because he's mad and upset, and that's how he's showing his frustration. Like, is you as a woman, when you get mad and upset and start crying, is that toxic femininity, or are you just showing your emotion?
Feels angry because a woman is undermining his authority, but he's not putting out that authority in the correct way. So then he unleashes the anger out on her and starts blaming her and all these kind of things, being like, oh, you don't listen. Okay, let me give a specific example. I believe that a man should make sure that his woman looks presentable. I do not want to go out. People can have their own opinions, but I don't want to go out looking too promiscuous. So if my man says, you know what, I'd prefer you to not wear that, and then the woman goes and says, you know what, actually I want to wear this. For example, I might wear a top that shows a little bit of my boobs, and then my man's like, I don't want you to wear that, and I'm like, actually, you know what, can I pull it up a little bit, and then it's okay. And then if he's toxic, he'll start getting angry, like, oh, you're undermining me, so on and so forth, and it will turn into a big argument that it does not have to be. However, if he knows how to go about it in the correct way, then we might have a little conversation about it, and either we come to some sort of compromise, or he knows how to deal with my emotions as a man.
Do you think that men want to have conversations about problems, or women want to have conversations?
And before that, okay, he already told you, hey, I don't want you wearing that. Like the whole, oh, well, what if I pull it up and da-da-da? What do you mean if you pull it up? You're going to take 5 steps and it's coming down. Like, what the hell? Why does he have to say any? He's got to continue. He's got to explain that to you. Like, are you? No, I don't want you to just pull it up because it's just going to come down in 20 minutes anyway, and I'm going to have to keep telling you to pull it up, or I'm going to have to tell you to cover up, or do. Why does he have to explain this to you? Are you dense? Like, and you just said, like, oh, if I'm wearing something a little too promiscuous, that means you automatically know what it is that you're doing. Like, when you ask a man to explain himself, or it's like a child. It's like when I tell my kid, hey, put your toys away. It's time to go to bed. Oh, well, can I just play with this one a little bit? Like, no, what? No, you can't play with. And why do I have to explain that to you? You're not a child. If you're a grown woman, then no. And you know what? He didn't say, hey, change your shirt. You look like a whore. Okay, he didn't say that. He said, hey, can you change that? I don't like you wearing that. Like that right there should be enough. Your man doesn't like it. Why are you trying to convince him that in some other form he will like it, or that it's okay, or for you to do it anyway? He just told you he didn't like it. Where's the respect at? Like that, and that's not, how is that toxic? I think for, technically speaking, it's toxic for you, or the way you behave is toxic. If you're going to be like, if he's going to say, hey, baby, I don't like you wearing that. It's a little too revealing. Can you put something else on? Oh, well, what if I did it? Now you're making him, you're the one who's creating the argument. You're the one who's creating the conflict here. He just made a very clear request of you that was not out of pocket. There's no reason for you. Change. What does it matter what you're wearing? If you're going out with him and you're supposed to be representing him the same way he's supposed to be representing you, and he doesn't feel comfortable with you wearing something enough to express it to you in the first place, why even question it? Why wouldn't you just say, oh yeah, baby, sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. Let me just go change that real quick. You right. Is your need to be right that much more valuable than his want to protect what your situation, like what you all got going on? That don't make no sense.
It's about problems.
At the end of the day, men and women are two very different creatures. There are similarities.
Can you answer the question?
Yeah,
men or women?
Women. Both for different topics. Mostly it's women because we have a lot more emotional issues.
So
but men
don't you think you're asking him to emote like a woman? Like, because often when I hear this is just what I've noticed, is when women say the word toxic masculinity, they're asking men to be women.
No,
not
always. It's the fact that in a relationship, you have to be able to compromise.
Empathy.
I have to be
is
able
important.
to understand you from your point of view of things. You have to be able to understand me too. If I need you to come down on a level where I'm able to actually tell you how I feel, and I want you to actually kind of understand what I'm trying to tell you without fighting back, that's what I think she kind of means.
Part of femininity is listening to your man. So is it toxically feminine if you're not listening?
No, I think it is because at the same time, like I just said, you need to be able to compromise. I need to be able to come to your level, you need to be able to come to mine. And that's how the relationship should work. You should be able to, if I want to sit down.
If he's up here and you're down here, right? And I'm not trying to say that, value or anything like that, but you're the one talking about level. So if he's up here and you're down here, meaning you got a man with all this status, money, he's doing all these things, he's checking all these boxes, blah, 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 which means he's above you in some fashion because you're not checking all those boxes, right? He's checking all these boxes. You're not. You're checking different boxes, but you know what I mean? If he's up here, why does he have to come down to your level? Isn't he supposed to elevate you? Isn't he supposed to, isn't the fact that you're with this man of higher status so that you can be of a higher status? Aren't you supposed to grow? Like what? I don't understand.
Down and tell you I don't like this, you should be able to hear it. If you want to come and sit down and tell me you don't like this, I should be able to hear it. End of.
I think that men are okay with us coming to talk about problems, but it's the way we approach it. A lot of the time we approach it by criticizing, blaming, shaming, trying to control them. I think if we're
all those things are absolutely correct. And the biggest issue, and this is the biggest one, is that when you come to men with their problems, you got to understand you are coming to natural problem solvers. So when you present an issue to us, we need you, just internally with relating to us, we need you to express your problem and then allow us to come up with a solution and then accept that solution. You don't have to do it necessarily, but you got to understand like that, when you give us the blowback, right? Now we're like, well, what the F? Or when you get upset, or when you just want to ramble, or when you're like, I don't need you to solve my problem. And now we're like, well, what the? Like it's like you got to understand who it is you're talking to, and if you want to speak with somebody who's going to respond to you the way a woman does, you need to speak with a woman.
Able to remove all of that, and we're able to have conversations as a kind of coming in at a different angle in a respectful way. Men are very happy to be having these conversations in order to ensure that the relationship is on track.
I'm just curious. I'm just going to do a poll quick with the guys. Do you guys want to have a conversation with your woman about what she wears every time you go out?
Nope. Nope.
No,
of course not.
No.
And to be completely honest, most men don't even want to say anything. We want our women to get dressed and we want to go, yeah, she looks good today. That's it. No man wants to have to be like, hey, baby, can you, the skirt's a little too short or your tits are hanging out or whatever. Like, no man wants to say that. We want you to just get it. Y'all want us to get a whole lot of things. Y'all want us to just get a whole lot of things. Well, this is something we just want y'all to get. Don't go out there acting like a hoe.
Not situations like that, because I think that you should know yourself what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
That's fine then. But the thing is, it's just a conversation at the end of the day. Yeah. It's not anything more than that.
Which is fine, but it's just going back to the toxic masculinity. It's like you're asking men to be women.
When it happens.
Exactly. Men don't want to tell you. Why do I have to tell you over and over and over and over again to not dress like a hoe? Like, if I tell you one time's too many. But if I've told you once, I shouldn't have to say it again. You know I don't like it. Why are you going out looking like that? As a matter of fact, every time that you do it, I'm going to look at that and take it disrespectful. I'm like, well, she already know I don't like her out there wearing that shit. Why the fuck is she wearing that? And now I got to say something again? Just to have you turn around and be like, well, why can't I wear it? What are we talking about right now? This is dumb.
Happens every time.
Wait, how?
When you're asking men to emote like women, so to have a conversation, like it's toxically masculine if you don't want to have a conversation about something.
But the thing is, they can have a conversation without crying, without doing this. Just listen. Just listen to what I have to say. I'm not asking you to be a woman. I'm not asking you to have a period every month.
No, but I'm saying when you say it's toxically masculine for you not to want to have a conversation with
it's
me.
like when
and that she's being super she's trying to win her battle by using far leaning points. Okay, don't sit. I just want to have I'm not asking you to cry. I'm not asking you to have a period. Just have a conversation with. It's not just have a conversation with you. It's sit there and talk about your feelings and pander to your bullshit while you disrespect me and don't listen to what I actually have to say. Because the man will tell you, yeah, okay, yep, I'm gonna listen. Yeah, no, I see why you want to wear that. I don't want you wearing it. And then you're mad. He listened to you. The conversation isn't going to go anywhere because you're not going to change his mind. There's nothing to talk about. You have a conversation with somebody in order to A, get to know what their opinion is on something, or B, try to change that opinion. If he's telling you he don't want you to wear something, you're not going to change his mind. All you're going to do is beat him into submission with your bullshit.
When they say something and they want to say that's the end of conversation, you get it? Like this guy can come to you and say,
and most men don't do that unless you absolutely force us to. And the reason why we would even say that in the first place is because there shouldn't have been a conversation about it in the first place. If I'm telling you something, most men don't say anything ever. It's not until they're really like pushed that they will even say anything like that, because they know that it causes conflict. You know what I mean? Most men don't even want to do that. And to be quite frank, most men shouldn't have to. If you're with your man, you shouldn't be acting like a 3 or 4.
I don't know, for example, like going back to the clothes thing, I don't like what you're wearing. I can try to tell you like, oh, but no, that's it. He's not even trying to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, and that's toxically masculine.
Why should he hear your side of the story? You don't understand. This isn't like a two-way street. This isn't like a conversation where we both like come to some type of an agreement or blah blah blah. You don't understand. If a man has to go so far as to even say anything, that means it's extremely important. Okay, internally it is affecting him somehow. He sees you look like a hoe. In this particular case, wearing something revealing. He doesn't like it. So, but he knows you obviously don't get it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wearing it. And so he has to say something. You make him have to say something. He has to be that guy and say, look, I don't like this. And then you want to come back and have a conversation about it, instead of just being like, okay, this is something my man doesn't like. Why am I trying to force him to allow me to do something that he doesn't like by even having a conversation? Why don't I just accept that, oh, he doesn't like when I do that. Maybe I shouldn't do that, because that'll make him feel better and make him feel more confident about the solidity of our relationship, right? It's the same thing. It would go the same way if, okay, let's say, the man and the woman, they're out, and, you guys are in a relationship or whatever, but the dude's got a mouthpiece. And so, y'all at dinner and the waitress comes up and he's just like, oh, hey, what's up? Da da da. And he's kind of like, just kicking it to her or whatever. First of all, if you're like, hey, I don't like you talking to, girls like that, and he would like, oh, well, why don't you like me talking to girls? I mean, like, come on. Now you have to defend your position about why it makes you feel uncomfortable, right? But if he just gets it, then he's not going to talk to the waitress like that in the first place, right? Right? And not put you in that situation. And even if he did, and you're like, oh, babe, I don't really like you talking to the waitress like that. Oh, my bad, babe. I got you. He gets it. He's not going to sit there and ask you to explain yourself and then tell you, well, you know what? The reason why I like talking to her is because I just want to get to know the waitress as a person and let her know that her services are really valued. We appreciate it. Man, shut the fuck up. None of that's going to happen. So why does he have to have a conversation where you browbeat him into something that he didn't want to do he doesn't want to do, and he doesn't want you to do?
I think so, because it's like you're toxically, if that's a word, like establishing your dominance in a way where you're not even trying to let me talk. You're trying to do this, oh, like, just be quiet, I'm your man kind of thing. I think that's what toxic masculinity
I think
is.
that's just masculinity. I think like women just don't like being told no.
Nah, because I feel like you can be masculine, like she said before, and come in a correct way. Like you could tell me, babe, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't like the way you're wearing this.
That's not masculine.
I feel like this. Like,
that's not a masculine man. Babe, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like this and da-da-da. That's not masculine. He's going to be like, hey, girl, yo, what you doing? Get out of that. Yo, you're bugging with that hanging out. Put them cheeks away. That's what he's going to say. he's not gonna be like, babe, can you sit down? Look, can we talk about, because I really, the way that, it makes me feel and blah, blah, blah. That's a woman.
At least hear me out from my
Right, but
side.
that's how women would communicate.
That's
I
like-
think that's how two adults should communicate.
Exactly.
No, but that's because you're trying to make men communicate like women. Like, if you're
What you're saying now is, how come when I walk up to a dog and I go meow, he says woof? He should say meow. That's what you're saying. We are two different things here. Just so happens that we come together, okay? But you can't make a dude meow when he's gonna bark.
have you ever been in a men's locker room and listened to how they talk to each other? And you're like, ooh, I can't believe they're like, I used to work at a plumbing tech company and they would just roast the shit out of each other. And I could not believe they talk to each other like that. But saying, like, that's communicating.
But they need to remember we are women and our feelings do get hurt.
So now, hold on. Let's run it back. This is how two people communicate. No, this is how women communicate. So now she wants to go back to, well, you have to remember that we are women. So you're asking men to communicate as women because your feelings might get hurt.
Very quick.
Oh.
So just be aware. So you wouldn't talk to, not referring to women as children, this is just an example. You would talk to a child a certain way because it's a kid. You would talk to like a bunch of boys a certain way because you're in a group.
I have to talk to my 4-year-old a lot of times like a 4-year-old. I have to dumb myself down and get onto her level. I don't mean to say dumb myself down, sweetie, but I have to dumb myself down, right? I got to get on her level to be able to articulate myself in a fashion to where she can receive it, okay? So that's what you're asking a man to do. You're asking a man to womanize himself so that he can articulate himself in a way that a woman can receive it, okay? And I'm not saying that you're wrong for wanting that. I'm not saying that, but let's call a spade a spade. You're asking a man to be more like a woman and communicate like a woman. You're not allowing a man to communicate as a man because you might get offended by it.
It was a bunch of boys. Just be aware of who you're talking to. That's it.
And I agree with you. I think men know that. They know they can't communicate to us the same way they communicate to other men. I'm saying it's not toxic.
Exactly. So we try our best. And when some manliness comes out, it's not toxic. It's just masculinity.
Toxically masculine if a guy just says no end of conversation.
I think it is because I think just give your reason. Just give your reason, because that's just what we want. Give your reason, babe, why you don't want me.
I shouldn't have to tell you that when your tits are hanging out, you look like a hoe. If I have to tell you that, then you are a child. Then you haven't grown up enough. You don't have enough self-awareness to understand that, okay? If your ass cheeks are hanging out and I got to tell you that, okay, that's a you problem. That's not a man's problem. That's you. And you're asking him to dumb himself down because you can't get with the program.
Me too. Him. Okay, this and this. Okay, yeah, I understand you. I'll take it off.
Do you think most women that's their answer when he says, when you give them a reason, he gives you a reason that they're like, oh, okay.
No, not every
Obviously,
woman.
no, it will go into a conversation. I feel like the clothing.
Nobody wants to have this conversation when you're about to walk out the door to go to the club or to go to a function or whatever. You're about to, you got this and and you got the tickets and blah 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 blah. And babe, you're okay. So now we get to sit down for 5 minutes and have a conversation about how your outfit makes me feel and why you shouldn't wear that and why it's What the fuck kind of world are these women living in?
Example has messed things up. Let me give you another one.
Okay.
So, say for example, cool. I live with my boyfriend, whatever. Like, I'm the one who will be cooking that night. Say for example, I say, babe, I'm thinking about making ABCD for dinner, and he goes, no, like, you're not doing that. I feel like, why is it that you have the right to tell us what we're eating? I'm the one that's doing the cooking.
Because he doesn't want to know. Sorry, I'm so sorry, but I've been itching. I just didn't want to interrupt anybody. It's because he doesn't want to know the ins and outs, in my opinion. He doesn't want to know the ins and outs and what you've decided. Just cook the food. Men don't want to have a conversation. I think men operate from a place of like solution. If there's a problem, what is the solution? How do we fix this? Very black and white. It's women that want to have the conversation. So instead of I'm cooking tonight, oh babe, this is what I'm going to cook. He doesn't care. He just cook the food.
So what if I've
Just cook
already?
it.
So what if
you
I've
can
defrosted?
decide, babe?
What if I've defrosted my chicken? This guy tells me he wants fish. Are my chickens there for him?
No,
I
but
can't
can't see him doing that
No.
though. I
So
think he'd be
when-
grateful
so
for every.
say-
But that's why it's
What kind of men are you dating, woman? That's real. That's the real tell right now. Is what kind of women? What kind of men are you dating? Because you cook a meal with the chicken. I sit down. I see some chicken in front of me. I ain't saying shit about no fish. What are you talking about? I'm gonna be like the drool hanging out. Like, baby, this looks so good. Let me go. No. And most men, that's what they're gonna do. They gonna be just happy that you made a damn meal for them. So, and they gonna love it. They could be chicken intolerant and they gonna love it. And you black, so I know you dating black man. You know they love some chicken. What the hell are we talking about?
toxic masculinity because not everybody does it, but
I
that
don't
would
think
be a
that's toxic.
toxic trait.
None of this is toxic masculinity. You know what? I'll give you. I'll tell you what toxic masculinity is. I'll give you a scenario. And we've all probably seen something similar to this on social media, right? So, what was that video? The video on the subway. I think it was on the subway where there's a woman sitting on the subway, and this dude comes up. I don't know if he was a crackhead or what, but he's like talking to himself, acting all weird, and he sits down next to her, and he like starts calling her something weird or whatever, and then he picks his hand, he like grabs her by the back of the head, and he's just holding her hair or whatever. He don't know this woman. He's just acting hella crazy, hella masculine. You know what I mean? That's pretty toxic. I don't know if that dude was crazy or not, but if he wasn't crazy, I mean, we have to assume that he was crazy, right? But that masculinity, toxic masculinity, is when you use your masculine, when you use masculine energy, when you use the manliness, the what am I trying to say? When you use the strengths, the natural strength that a man has that's greater than a woman's, when you use that over women to control them. Okay, asking your woman to put her, to change her clothes, that's not toxic anything. That's not even masculinity. That's like respect for your partner. And if you make chicken and the dude's like, or you're like, hey, I'm about to make chicken, and the dude's like, no, make fish. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't call that toxic masculinity. I would say that you probably have disrespect in your relationship. You know what I mean? There's something going on in that relationship. I don't see most dudes doing that. I don't know any guys that would do that, as a matter of fact. Not like that, like, no, we're eating fish. Like, maybe it was just like pissed off, or you did something. You know what I mean? There would have to be other things going on there. You didn't just have a great day and you started to make dinner and told him, and then he said no. Like that's not what happens. Normally, maybe you are.
I think that's controlling and narcissistic.
Wait,
that's not toxic
what's
masculinity.
Controlling and narcissistic? Could you re-explain that? I just didn't understand what you were saying.
No, what I was basically trying to say is like, what I was saying is that's the toxic side of the whole toxic masculinity thing, is when he wants to like apply himself in a way where he's not trying to hear anything else. That's basically what
Or
I was
just trying to
get
be
across.
cruel. I mean, it just sounds cruel. Like someone, you say you're going to make
That's not
something.
me.
This is an example.
No. I'm saying if he says that
I don't
sounds
understand
cruel.
the
Yeah.
situation.
Oh, you mean he's undermining you?
How is
Yeah, that's what I kind of mean. Like that's what I take from toxic masculinity.
That's not undermining. If you're about to make dinner and he asks for something different or whatever, he's not undermining you. For all intents and purposes, he probably paid for the food and everything that you're cooking with and all the stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's 50% of the relationship, right? So if he's feeling something different that night, like, babe, I'd rather have some meatloaf. Like most men would say that. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, chicken tonight, babe, can we just have some pizza or whatever? Like most men are going to be like that. I don't know any men that are going to be like, no, we're doing this instead. Like, if so, then maybe you're in like a very weird relationship. Maybe you got what, there's other things going on there.
You
Somebody trying to
offer
undermine
something
you.
and he tells you, no. Like you send the food away, because I've heard
Yeah, who
situations
does
like that,
that?
right? Where
Where?
What if it
someone's
was
prepared
bad?
dinner,
What if it was bad?
put it in the bin, and just don't want to eat it.
What if it was
Like-
bad?
But so say if
I
there
just think
were-
that's like toxically masculine, narcissistic. That's a bit far.
I think the
Yeah.
word narcissistic gets thrown around way too quick and easy. Personally, I do think that
Yeah, but you guys aren't throwing around toxic masculinity. That's a cat. That right there is hypocrisy. Okay, narcissism, yes, gets thrown around a lot, but the thing is that a lot of women are narcissists, right? I'm not saying a lot of guys aren't narcissists, but a lot of women are narcissists, right? And there are very stringent definition rules to narcissism and what makes a narcissist person. You guys just willy-nilly make up what toxic masculinity is, and it's based off of whatever you feel at the time.
That people they're not, most of us are not psychologists, and we can't just label someone a narcissist because of a behavior which,
and most of y'all aren't psychologists and can't label anything toxic masculinity, yet you do it anyway.
we think they're not considering our feelings. Personally, I use that word very seldom.
I feel like when I touched on toxic masculinity, it got a bit misconstrued, because I didn't say not having a conversation was toxic. I mean, like, exerting your dominance, because a woman is should be subservient in a lot of different ways, and I feel like asserting your dominance in a way that makes her feel unheard, or just like not scared. Scared is too much of a word, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, she can't be heard.
So
in
if
these kind
he's
of
so
things.
dominant that she doesn't feel heard, that's toxically masculine.
A man's role, as well as to provide and protect, is to make a woman feel safe, to do her womanly duties and da. If she don't feel safe, that is being toxically masculine.
Don't you think
in a
women
way.
change how they feel every day?
Every 5 minutes.
Like, one way, I mean, we all have a friend. One day she's with her boyfriend. The next day she hates him.
But what's
the
her
next day
boyfriend
she's
doing
in
to
love
make
with
that?
him.
We
What's
also-
she doing to
What's she
contribute to
doing?
the situation?
But we have a lot of
She's probably loopy. She probably loves drama and starts it because women prefer this. They prefer this over this. They don't like boring. They don't like stable. They don't like uneventful. They like drama.
of things going on inside. Like, we have a period every month that does a lot.
But you know what?
Cool. Let's blame it on the hormones now. Let's blame it on the hormones. Like, men have hormones too. You think? I mean, I know you guys think your period makes you do this all the time. You like to blame the period on you acting like a damn fool, okay? But testosterone's a motherfucker, okay? Testosterone will get you in some shit, all right? I don't know the difference, you know what I mean, between estrogen, testosterone, and how specifically how it affects, the body, women versus men. But testosterone's a motherfucker. Do I get to blame my testosterone levels when I lose my cool, when I act, get crazy, when I'm emotional, when I'm erratic? Do I get to blame? No, you call it toxic masculinity. Y'all don't even use the word testosterone. Where are my hormones at? I'm gonna blame my hormones. God, it's just that time of the month. My testosterone levels are too high.
Well, I think you don't always have to act on your emotions, you know? You could just have the emotion.
Yeah.
It don't mean you've got to always act upon it. And I
Yeah.
think that's where we're very destructive when we're very impulsive. The moment we feel something, we feel that we have to act on it. You know, just
Yeah.
sometimes ride it out. Just wait to see if that feeling change, if another feeling could come. And most time it will.
I wonder if she's talking about men or women or just both, right? Because y'all women, y'all be acting on emotion a lot. Y'all, that's how y'all move. Y'all make really, really, really big decisions on whether you're happy or sad or upset. Like, that doesn't even, man. And that's just a huge difference between men and women. And I'm not talking about every woman, of course I'm not. I'm just saying, like, there's differences there.
I feel like, sorry, just to say one last thing. I feel like feeling safe in a situation is something that varies. Like, as you said earlier, love varies and all these kind of things. But for example, no relationship is perfect. You're gonna have arguments. You're gonna have times where you're like, oh, I hate him. Same thing where you said that, oh, parents might have that. But if the overall ambience is safety and all these kind of things, like, variance is allowable. We're all humans at the end of the day.
I don't even understand what you just said.
Yeah, and we're just going to end it with that because didn't nobody understand what she just said. And that happens a lot. Hey, look, toxic masculinity, is it a thing? I don't think so. Narcissism, is it a thing? 100%. Toxic femininity, is it a thing? I don't think so either. I think some people are just toxic, and it doesn't have anything to do with masculinity or femininity. It has something to do with their hormones, the way they were damn brought up, and probably social influences and some other bullshit. Yo, just treat each other right, man. You know what I mean? Stop acting a fool. Stop going crazy. Women, stop putting yourself in men's shoes. Okay? Men, definitely don't put yourself in women's shoes. Let's just all get along. Anyways, this is the Chill with Bill show. I'm Ill Bill. Thank you for listening to my bullshit. Have a good day.